everybody, so today we're going to be talking about the During Reading Strategy Coding the Text. Coding the text is a reading strategy that can be used for all grade levels as well as all subjects. This strategy can also be used for both literary and informational text. So coding the text is simply a self-monitoring comprehension strategy for students during a complex reading. This allows students to break information into smaller chunks as well as identify specific parts of the text that they do or do not understand. Coding the text is simply a set of symbols and strategies that the student would use to mark up their paper. For example, they would have a check mark if they understand a point in the passage, a question mark if a question is raised at any point, circle for an unknown word, underline for a key concept, starred for a main idea, an exclamation point for something the student finds interesting, intriguing, or would like to later on share with the class, an eye to represent that the student has read something that has created a visual, and a set of chains to represent a connection to either the subject, to the student, or to the world. So today we're going to be going through the first part of the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. While you don't have to use all of these symbols when you're going through this strategy, it's important that you pick key ones that will help the students understand the text. Before you begin this strategy, it's important to make sure that you have your students read through the passage one time before. It's also important to model the symbols before you allow students to go to work on their own. So we'll begin. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous, now if I don't know what the word unanimous means, I will simply circle the word so I can come back to it later. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. If a student doesn't know what a point in the passage means, they can simply write brackets around it and write a question mark along with their question to the author. What does this mean? It's important to remind students that when they're asking questions, that they are asking their questions to the author as opposed to the teacher or another student. To continue, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. I think this part of the passage is saying that if they are going to separate, they at least owe the king an explanation. So since I think I understand this, I'll simply write a check mark and then write my explanation under it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident sounds like it could be a key term, so I will underline that. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. This sounds like it could potentially be the main idea of the passage, so I'll simply write stars around it so I can come back to it easily later. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed. Endowed sounds like it could be important as well, so I will underline that as well as circle it if I'm not quite sure what it means. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable. The student might want to circle unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These sound like they could be key points as well, so I will underline them as well. Okay, as you can see, we've just coded the text for the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. While this strategy can be used in any of the 4 subjects, it does look relatively similar. As you can see in this science article, we've annotated the text as well. This is great for science as it allows students to break large areas of complex text down into smaller, more manageable pieces to help with comprehension. Here's an example in an ELA passage as well. As you can see in this passage, the eye is used to represent that the student in this passage has read something that has created a visual. In this math example, you can see that the student used both an eye as well as a chain to represent a connection the student had to the passage. This article is also interesting as well as the student has chosen to ask a question about the title. This would be a great strategy as it allows the student to go into the reading attempting to answer their question. Once you've finished coding your text, you can either have students come together as a class or break off into partners to discuss what they've annotated. This allows students the opportunity to have their questions answered as well as discuss any areas that they found interesting or that they understood. This will allow students to have a better understanding of what they've read and a better understanding of what they don't understand. It's up to your discernment as a teacher to decide whether you would allow students to work with a partner or if you would rather complete this as a class. I hope this has been helpful today, so thank you for watching with me.